Hi, my name is Stacey Lindes. I'm a fifth grade teacher in Central Jersey. I've been teaching for 18 years. A little bit before that, I was a preschool teacher. I've taught everything from preschool to fifth grades, and I worked in the middle school, high school, and elementary schools as a tech coach for 7 years.
Welcome.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
My name is Chris Nesi. I'm the host of the House of EdTech podcast, a co-host of PodcastPD. By day, I'm a high school social studies teacher, and by night, a adjunct professor, a lover of EdTech, lover of food. So this is the place to be. Glad to be here, Gabe.
Absolutely. Thank you for accepting the invite, Chris.
And I'm AJ Bianco, 16-year educator, first-year assistant principal. By day, that's what I do. By night, I'm super dad. And I guess this is what we do. This is it. We podcast, we eat food, and we enjoy each other's company. So I'm happy to be here.
We take names later, right? That's
Always.
right. So the discussion, well, first and foremost, thank you guys for agreeing to be on the show. I know that we've kind of been chatting back and forth, I would say for about 3 weeks about the topic, and we kind of changed topic and decided based off of something you said in Voxer, Chris, you you sent the message, somebody should send Gabriel some pork roll. I didn't know what it was. I Googled it. I'm not gonna lie, I went down a rabbit hole, and somehow I found a clip. I found a clip, and I showed my wife of the Jersey Shore. I guess there's like a viral clip of the Jersey Shore going back, the staff going back and forth on pork roll versus Taylor ham. Either way, it's food. It looks like it's food. I'm ready to rock. You guys got your pork roll. You guys want to describe yours?
So I'm going to go first. No, I'm going first
ahead,
on this one. No, I have to. I have to.
Because you have to ruin it.
Because I'm in Bergen County, so I'm far from these guys. Up here in the north, we call it Taylor ham. Because that's what it is. It's Taylor ham.
It's not
you guys.
You don't go by
enough. You guys go Taylor. You guys go pork roll. I go Taylor ham. So I actually made mine. I got a little, I didn't put it on a bagel. I didn't have any bagels. I have a nice little croissant, little mini croissant over here now.
Oh.
Got a little Taylor ham on the bottom.
Fancy.
Egg and cheese. Boom.
I guess if it's on a croissant, you have to call it by its proper brand name.
Well, I didn't have the bagels, and I didn't go out this morning. So
what kind of cheese do you use on that?
I just use American cheese. I'm just straight up American. I like it like that.
Okay.
Nice thick deli cut dough, not like the sealable ones. This is like straight up like off the block American cheese.
That's how we roll too. If it comes in a cellophane wrapper, then keep it.
Yeah.
Right?
No good for me.
All right. So I stopped for all of my ingredients this morning. The way back from getting my COVID test. We didn't have anything in the house. So I was like, all right, let's get it. I was gonna stop and actually pick up a pork roll, egg and cheese and French fries, which is how I like to eat my pork roll, egg and cheese with fries. Make it a whole meal. When I go to a diner, that's what I normally get. So yeah, so it's just on a Kaiser roll, plain, with American cheese, and these are thinner slices than I prefer. And my husband doesn't cook it as much as I would, or as much as the diner does. But
got it.
Pork roll, egg and cheese, and he made it for me. So
what more do you want, right?
Exactly.
Well, I guess a negative COVID test was the other thing you would want.
Oh no, it was. Did I say COVID test? I meant COVID shot.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
COVID shot.
You kind of just snuck that in there, like, yeah, I went to the store, got a COVID test, and
No.
got some.
Got my sandwich and a COVID test.
COVID shot. Sorry.
Was it drive-through?
It almost was. It looked like a drive-through. It was interesting, but no.
COVID test on a Kaiser roll. Go for it. All right, Chris.
So I went to my favorite bagel place here at the Jersey Shore, which is located, I'm in Central Jersey because that's a place. All right. So Stacey and I are there. So I got my pork roll, egg and cheese on an egg bagel. Sometimes I will get it on a cheddar bagel, but I got it on an egg bagel today, and got the yellow American, and I get extra pork roll, and it's thick, and this place does it so great. So it's just like this massive, I'll hold it up for the viewers at home. Yeah, That's what I'm talking about.
That's double pork.
Yeah, I do double pork roll because why not?
All right.
It's a special occasion.
Yeah, yes, it is. It definitely is. I'll go last. This is my first time making it. There might be some string in mine because I did not know how to get through that bag So I had to go at it with the scissors. I almost pulled the old cut the weed scissors in the garage to get that dang bag out of here. But I got all the strings out. And I like, whenever I do any sort of meat on a flat top or on a cast iron, I like it to have a little crisp to it.
Oh yeah,
It's a
definitely.
little bit thinner, but I threw sorry, my mouth watered. I threw a couple more slices than typical, probably along the lines of you, Chris. And same thing, American cheese by the deli, not cellophane wrapped. And I got a nice fluffy egg. And then I couldn't help it. You know, that end, I had to crisp that up as well. So this is literally my inaugural pork roll sandwich. I've never had one. This is my first time. I'm going to take off my wedding ring because I'm assuming that my fingers are going to swell up after sodium levels increase. But let's
your arteries, not your fingers.
let's do this. I'm ready.
So we gotta make sure you come to Jersey, you get real taste. They do it like that too. They'll do like that. They'll sear that bad boy up for you.
Oh man, I thought it was gonna have like a Spam flavor to it, but no.
No, sir. It's almost just like spiral ham. It's just got a different flavor to it.
Spiral ham at all.
It is not like spiral ham.
Sometimes
I don't know where you get. Maybe that's what Taylor ham is. It's just spiral ham.
Wow, it's not as salty.
Yeah, it's a interesting texture as well. It's oh man, it's almost like a salami, but not as salty.
Okay, there you go. Salami would be a good choice.
I don't know. I like it though. I'm in. Let's do this.
Then from all of us in New Jersey, Gabe, you're welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Gabe, what brand did you get? Because I think that also speaks to AJ
Taylor
ham.
Okay. They actually sell it here only in the 1 ounce chub. I mean, 1 ounce, 1 pound. They didn't have the old Christmas stocking size that I've seen on TV.
Oh, I got mine pre-sliced.
Oh, they sell it pre-sliced? I didn't know that.
Yep. And it's cheaper for some reason.
And it doesn't come with string.
It doesn't come with string.
Well, the good thing about the string is I get to floss later at the same time. So anyway, all right. So we're going to talk about an interesting topic today. It's something I'm passionate about, and I'm pretty sure everyone else there is because we've all got them. EdTech pet peeves. What are some of those things that quote unquote grind your gears? It could be something that you catch yourself doing. It could be something that others do to you on purpose because they know. But we had this conversation in our Voxer chat, and there are some things that just absolutely, for the lack of a better term, drive me nuts. They absolutely drive me nuts. And it's not to say that if you do this that you're a bad person. It's just that something that is specific to me and something that I don't necessarily like, but that doesn't make you any less of a person in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to start it off because I see, Stacey, you took a nice Jersey bite right now. So I'll start it off. Here's one of my absolute pet peeves. And those of you listening or watching this on YouTube, by the way, if you are listening to this on your favorite podcast app platform, podcast catching app, if you want to see the video of us talking about this and actually eating it and digging in and breaking bread together, then by all means, go ahead and search for EdTech on YouTube. Check it out, subscribe, because I've got more great content and food on the way as well. But one of my absolute pet peeves with EdTech is this. When someone writes the entire body of the email in the subject line, that, especially if I'm walking around the hallway, AJ, you know this, being an administrator, you check your email probably more on your phone or your mobile device than you do on your computer because you're not sitting down too much. Depending on the app, if your email comes to me and your entire body is in the subject of the email, I have to wait for it to scroll. I can't fast forward. I can't do anything. I'm literally I'm at the mercy of the scroll speed for my email app. So if you find yourself doing that, if you find the title of your email is more than about 5 words, leave it to 5, cut it to less than 5, and get to the meat and potatoes or the Taylor roll in the body of the email, not the subject line. So I said it. I got it out.
Now, Gabe, do you and Stacey and AJ, I find that this is more students who don't know how to have email etiquette. I find that students do this.
I've had students do it, but I've had some teachers do it too. But they do it, and I'm not saying in a bad way. They've done it till it gets my attention. Like, can you come see me? Just when I have to open an email, it's on my phone, I pop it open, like, okay, I will come over there and I'll come see what's up. Sometimes I actually then do go into the message and there's nothing there and I get upset. But something I have seen is a teacher actually said, can you come see me? And then did the abbreviations for end of message. And it took me a while to figure out what she abbreviated EOM. I was like, what is EOM? So I actually had spent time Googling what's EOM and it just said end of message. I was like, oh, so that was the message.
End of message. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you see me? That's 4 words. That gets the point across. What drives me nuts is I can't get my Google Docs to, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And it's like, all right, forget it. It's a wrap. Forget it.
So I don't mind when the entire text is in the subject line. If it's like looking for the red hat by blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right. Then I like a good follow-up where it's like, got it, boom, done. Then I know I don't even need to open those. It's delete. They're out of my queue.
Yeah.
But Chris, I taught my kids how to send email because nothing irks me more than an email that doesn't have a subject.
I teach them that as this happens, I will say, well, please put your message in the body. And so on a as it happens basis, I will correct their behavior.
But I have with 5th grade being the first year that typically 5th grade in my district is the first year that they get devices. Now everybody has one. It drove me nuts last year when my kids would just send me an email and it was like, I can't do blah, blah, blah. And that's the whole email. There's no subject. There's no greeting. Like, it's not a text to your buddy on iMessage. You're addressing a teacher. So we go through this whole, and it's just not to be formal. Hi, Mrs. Lindes. I'm having trouble with yada, yada. And if they write in the subject line, Zoom, Google Classroom, homework, then at least I know what I'm looking for. So for kids, it helps me prioritize because I'm the worst at checking Gmail because I find that it's very spammy. With a co-teacher, I get all of the announcements for the assignments that she's putting in there and all the other things. And for the 7 years that I was a coach, I was using my Gmail as my junk mail to like register for all the conferences. And so now I still get all of that. But that irks me. So I, like you said, Chris, nip that in the bud early on this year, learning from last year, like this is how we send email.
And what a more perfect time to do that than now during a global pandemic, right? When we've got more devices than ever between our faces and the wall. So yeah, absolutely. All right. Who wants to go next?
Well, if I could stay on the email thing for 1 second, because this inspired me. People who hit reply all and there's no reason to. So I see this most often where, let's say the theater teacher sends out something about, we had the play, great performance, blah, blah, blah. We're so, if you see the kids in the hallway, when kids are in the hallway at some point in the future, and then you get like 5 or 6 teachers that reply all, hey, thanks for this, great job. Like, I don't need to see all that. If you want to compliment whoever sent the email, not everybody in the whole building needs to see you say thank you. So please don't hit reply all.
I find it harder in Gmail to actually hit reply all than just hit reply. So there really should be no reason. Like, you have to actually find reply.
Using Gmail.
You have to be very intentional in Gmail. Right. You have to, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's funny you say that. There's a story. I think it was a year before I got to this particular district, but it still happens. There'll be a district-wide message that goes out to all district staff. We're talking 64 campuses. That's how big our district is. I want to say it's like 67,000 students that we have in our district. Man. And when an email, I guess somebody accidentally typed in like, hey, there's extra breakfast tacos in the fridge. They meant to do it for their campus and they did it to the entire district. And apparently a reply all party happened back and forth to the point where like the executive director of technology and the superintendent had to get involved and cut it and that. But every once in a while that'll happen, and I just heat up my popcorn and just wait. Like,
Feet up on the desk.
I
just
can't
watch the
wait
play.
to see where this goes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Chris, I agree with you on that one, man. The reply all.
Reply all is painful. We used to have cows, like computers on wheels, before we were 1-to-1 in 5th grade, and it would always, and somebody decorated our white cart with black stick-on contact paper to make it look like a cow, right? And so then it would be like, has anyone seen the cow? You know, and then I saw it going to pasture in such and such wing, or, you know, I saw it grazing outside. And then those reply alls would get like heavy handed, and then it'd be like, no, moo. And then it was, yeah. So I feel your pain. And then our superintendent intervened and made it so that only one person could send all district email, and everything had to funnel through her, including from the superintendent and like any other district admin. So the one person funnels everything on behalf of all of our assistants and superintendent, as well as anybody else who needs like an all district shout out. And this was years ago. This was before our current superintendent. But I just remember thinking that this, you guys are exactly why we can't, not that you need to send all district email if you're a teacher or anybody like that, but it was just kind of interesting.
That's why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. Sticking with the email, but diverting it just a little bit. An all school meeting that could have been an email. That irks my buttons. Or pushes my birds, or I don't know. Whatever. It's irksome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I recently saw these WTF notebooks where it has like all like, and I shared it with AJ because he and I are on this like notebook kick right now. And one of them was all the things. This could have been a meeting. That's the title of the notebook, and I just feel like it's a great place to list everything. Or this could have been an email, right? And all the meetings that could have been an email.
I feel like that about the Super Bowl. That Super Bowl could have been an email, right? I can't get over this sandwich.
Are you liking it?
Look,
Oh my gosh. Yes.
can't stop.
Yeah. All right. Who's next? Anyone? We want to keep it on the email. Anyone have anything else about email? All right. AJ, what's something that boils your blood, man?
This is a tough one for me because I don't know how negative we want to take it. So I had two in mind. So I'm going to go with
What's
this
the
first
most
one.
negative? Go with the most negative, harshest thing. Let's just pull the Band-Aid off. Come on.
It's not that bad. You guys are going to hear and be like, oh, that's your biggest problem. All right. I'm going to center it towards EdTech companies who pitch me an idea. And then I look at their site and it's like only $2,000 per kid or whatever nonsense they charge you. And like, you realize we're a public school, right? Our funds are not just for you. I think just recently I'm hearing a lot of different chatter about EdTech and the pitches and all that kind of stuff that go along with it. And I kind of just, I get myself worked up because like, stop giving me different tools when my teachers are comfortable with what they're using right now. Let them get used to this stuff and don't pitch to me like, oh, you really need this. You have to have this. It's very important that this tool is introduced to your students. So I don't really appreciate all the different technology that's pushed my way through email. And then they're charging an arm and a leg for services that may not even be good enough for our students.
Yeah.
I'll jump right on that one too, because, you know, I don't like being pitched as a teacher, right? I have no spending authority as the classroom teacher. I don't, you know, my budget in air quotes, I get like $250 that I could spend on school supplies from the district. And that's what every teacher where I'm at gets. Sorry, not subscribing to any services, can't buy any tech because I'm also limited as to where I can spend that money, right? Whether it's, what's that CDW or the that School Plus company that so many places use, at least here in New Jersey. And I mean, there's another pet peeve, CDW. I'll call it. I mean, you got the monopoly on school technology, at least, you know, in New Jersey, and your prices are outrageous. I would love to take my money and just go to Amazon, or I'll go to Best Buy, get the same stuff, get a much better deal. But, you know, I don't know how our hands are tied on how we can spend money on technology. But going back to AJ's point, you know, again, if I go to a conference and I stop at your booth, cool, but I don't have the ability to spend money. I'm just a classroom teacher.
Yeah, but you know what? To go with that, Chris, like I don't have the money to spend either. Like my budget is in place a year in advance. So like you're gonna pitch me something and then email me continuously begging me to try it. Give me a free sample. Give my teachers a free sample. Don't tell me, oh, we'll give it to you for 30 days. The 30 days we can't figure out anything. Like you're telling me to introduce it to them and then let them use it in 30 days. They have lesson plans. They have things they're doing. Like if it's a good product, I'll put it on the budget for the next year. I can't just be like, this is it. Perfect. I'm going to spend all the money I have for your $40,000 account. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and not for nothing. There is no product out there in the ed tech space that is going to be that's worth that type of money, and no one tool is going to solve all your problems, right? There is no magic ed tech tool out there that's going to just do it all. There are some that come close that give you a lot of flexibility, and you could smash them up with other pieces of technology, but there is not one magic thing.
I'm going to piggyback off of what you guys are talking about, but I'm going to talk about from the podcaster perspective. If you're going to charge this exuberant amount of money for, you know, a lot of the models are switching from a school account or a district account to a per student account per seat. And the pricing has gone up, you know, tremendously for certain products. I know this firsthand from looking at a couple of products that are district purchases. If I, as a podcaster, reach out to you for promotion or for some sort of deal where we can, you know, I can help advertise kind of thing. You can, you know, based on the number of clicks, you throw me a code or what have you. We could talk some monetization. Don't turn around and say we don't have the budget for that. Okay.
Or don't say my hands are tied, because it's your company. Your hands are not tied. You can do what you want.
Yeah.
I have to jump on this right now because as a podcaster, I was approached by a very prominent technology company that exists in the world, and they were interested in sponsoring some episodes of House of EdTech. And I told them what it cost to sponsor. And they were like, well, no, that's, you know, we're not looking to spend money. And I said, all right, could I get product? I'd be willing to exchange ad space for product. And they said, okay, you know, what do you think? And take a look at our products. So in essence, I put together a list of here are the products I would like that I could use in my classroom, some that would help me personally, and put it together where it was basically about the same amount of money I was looking for if they just paid me money. And now the conversation has tailed off since the middle of December. I'm just going to put this out there. This company had an ad during the Super Bowl.
Whoa.
Don't tell me.
I can't help a little guy.
Don't tell me you can't hook me up with product or even have paid me money when your company had a Super Bowl ad in this year's Super Bowl. So if you want to go and look at all the Super Bowl commercials, you might be able to figure out which company I was trying to work with.
It was a long
There's only one that makes sense.
I remember it was there. I remember the company you told me. It was a long one.
Wow.
Long commercial. It was colorful, if I remember.
Interesting. Well,
Yes.
yeah, that's one thing that drives me nuts. It's like just I know that they have these they rely on ambassadorships a lot for them to promote the product in that, but at the same time, you have to. I mean, we do something different than a typical ambassador does. We have a wider audience. Some of us do, you know, some of us don't. But you got to, you know, you get out of it what you put into it. And if you're not willing to put some money into it for promotion, for videos, for us to create content, then you can't be mad when your reach is not as wide as it could be.
And I'm sorry, teachers need to stop accepting stickers and pencils and flash drives as good enough for using your stuff and talking about your stuff. Or, I'm sorry, badges on my website are worthless. That's why you don't see any on my site, except for the network, but that's a whole different thing. I'm actually pretty proud that I am an ambassador of nothing. There are things I endorse, but that's because I like to use the things and I'm going out of my way to talk about these things.
I was just going to say, then you can have an authentic opinion, right? You can say Flipgrid is great, but I wish that, instead of having to say like Flipgrid is the end all be all. And right now, quite honestly, it is. It has been really a great, significant tool that I'm using and leveraging a lot. But I see your point. Sticking with the EdTech theme, I hate when things are freemium and then the more popular they get, the more they pull away.
Yeah.
Right. So like Padlet killed me when they went like from free to like really limited in like a second. You know what I mean? It was like overnight, and it was like, here are your 3 boards if you've never had a Padlet account, and here are your 3 additional boards attached to whatever else you've owned. And like that for me was like super, super cruddy, because I didn't have a lot of boards because I wasn't a teacher. I wasn't using it that way at the time. I was showing people how to use them.
And there were people who got lucky in that scenario because they had a whole bunch of boards and I got to be able to keep that number of boards. I would typically, I use it. All right, I'm done with it. I would delete it. Like I would just keep my account neat. And now I only got 3. So, boo Padlet.
That one hurt. That was the summer of 19. That one hurt.
Yeah, that was a big blow.
Yeah, it's a great tool too.
I was really hopeful that with the pandemic, a lot of these companies were doing the free stuff. I thought maybe they would kind of roll with that until things slowed down, and they would just kind of help the schools out instead of having, we're spending all the money on PPE right now and trying to figure that stuff out. Like, also, here's PPE, but now you need this tech tool. So which one are you going to choose? Well, guess what we're going to choose, tech company.
Yeah.
And that's that. I didn't understand that either, AJ. Like, sorry. Oh, it's only the half hour. At 11, it will chime 11 times, and then I'll mute. But that was a big blow. Like, it was great to get all those free things and like, oh, now I can check this one thing out, or like you said, AJ, explore it for more than 30 days because the pandemic lasted more than 30 days. But the expectation that schools would take whatever grant money from the government or funding that they already had allotted and turn that into tech resources as opposed to PPE and ventilation and all the things that you had to upgrade in order to get teachers and students back in the building. Yeah, I'm with you. And also to that vein, my district did spend a lot of money on tech, and I feel like we still don't know what we have for free. Like what we have at, not for free, but that the district is paying for the entire district. And so that has really been a peeve of mine too, because I don't have the time to sit there and look at the district site and see what all the things are, and we don't have tech coaches anymore. That position was eliminated, and that's why I'm no longer a coach. But I feel like someone needed to like step up, whether it be supervisors, building admin, somebody to say like, hey, here are the 10 things we have. Do we have 10 people who can showcase this for us in a PLC or, in a faculty meeting where, we allocate a few minutes for each tool, and you can talk about why you think it's important and you can talk about how it's helping your kids. Otherwise, I feel like all of those things are going to just be paid for and no one's going to use them. And that hurts even more.
I'm going to take it a step further and say, when districts purchase things that, number one, might not work on our network, our devices can't handle, and with absolutely no input from tech coaches, from the IT department, when they see things, they get those emails, limited time offer, or they saw it at a conference. Hey, I saw them using this particular app for world languages. Let's buy X amount of licenses for our huge district. I mean, we're the 3rd largest district in San Antonio, or the 2nd largest in San Antonio. And all this money goes towards these applications and then come to find out that our iPads are out of service life for those particular apps. So now, and it doesn't work on a web browser. So you can't do it on a Chromebook. It's app based. So things like that drive me absolutely nuts as well.
Or you get the technology that makes the little student Chromebook that costs $200 heat up and you could cook an egg on the keyboard because that thing is just trying to process this web-based application.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Did everybody finish their sandwiches?
What's that?
Did everyone finish their sandwiches?
Yeah.
Am I the only
I finished my sandwich like 2 pet peeves ago.
I didn't finish mine. I can't eat and concentrate.
And you may have seen me down my Nesquik, which is the perfect side dish to the pork roll.
That is actually true. That's true.
I'm going to go with Nesi quick.
Huh.
There we go. All right. Well, we talked about a couple of different things that kind of grind our gears. I got another one. If you guys don't mind, if you guys don't want to, if any of you want to chime in with another one.
I do have another one, but I'll let you go first. You're the host.
Okay. I'll get this off my chest real quick because this is one that is near and dear to my heart and the one that bothers me the most. I'm a tech coach, instructional technology specialist, EdTech specialist, 21st century digital learning coach, whatever you want to call it, whatever your state, your district, whatever your particular organization titles it, same job. Whenever we used, remember the days when we used to do PD in person? Well, whenever we used to do PD in person, and we're talking about a specific tool or app or something, and we're getting people set up on it, if somebody got an error message or they got a pop-up and they would turn their device around 35 feet away and just not say a word, just show it to me. Like, what do I do? What do I do? What does it say? Accept or decline, accept, or, they're showing me things on their smartphone from 40 feet away. What do I do? What is it? Well, what does it say? Choose your Google account to continue. What? Like, then choose your Google account to continue. There are certain things like that drive me nuts. So if you're ever in a PD with me, if you're ever at a conference or something at one of my sessions and you get a pop-up, do us all a favor and read it, internalize it, and maybe do what it asks before you turn that screen around and show it to me from 40 feet away, because yes, you are the only person in that session with me. Yes, it's one-on-one now. So that's something that absolutely, I tell my wife about this all the time, because, when we used to do PD, and it's like when you have 40 people in a room or 30 people in a room and you and a co-host, a co-teacher are doing this together and you see all these screens, it's like, what would you do if you handed your students a note from the principal that had to go home and all your students held it up and said, what is this? What would you tell your students to do?
Read it.
Read it. What does it say?
Look, I've been saying for years that the hardest thing to do, whether it's with students or leading professional development, is to lead a technology-based PD, and you're trying to get 20, 25, 30, 40 people to do the same thing at the same time on a laptop or a device. Good gravy, to quote one of my favorite human beings. Good gravy.
Oh, yes.
So my strategy is, I don't know if we're looking for solutions, but my strategy is when I do something with computers, I stand behind everybody so I can see all the screens and I can give play-by-play of, if you see this, do this. Because I know some people are going to see this pop up and that pop up. But it is hard to get people to do the same thing at the same time synchronously.
I do the same thing.
And now we're trying to get them to do that in their houses.
I tend to have someone else drive, and then I would circulate around the room, and just by looking at where my kids are or where my teachers were, just say, okay, please don't click anything else. You should all be here. And then I would project someone's screen or, have the person who's driving be on my device incognito, but at least so that they're logging into their account, because that's the other thing. You can always replicate the actual initial sign on when you already have the account. So I would have another driver who generally went at a slower pace. And then, like you, just be behind. This way you're at least seeing most of the screens and you can kind of gauge where people are at. But nothing irked my buttons more than like, wait, I don't know where I am. And then the frustration that sometimes led, and they would just shut their device down and like sit back like, well, like I was the jerk who went too fast. You have 20 other people who are cruising along and you're the only person. It's not on me.
And you email them beforehand saying, please download this software or create your account prior to showing up. Yes.
Or bring your device to the professional development session and you got people who show up without their computers. And then they walk in and say, oh, I needed my computer today?
As a tech coach,
come on.
What kind of session do you think I'm leading that you wouldn't need a device? I didn't know I needed to bring a device.
Oh, and by the way, I need to leave 40 minutes early. So if you can, that's the other one too. It's like, all right, cool. Well, you'll get 0.08 hours of credit for this.
I also like the people who would turn well, I don't have time for this, or I don't, I'm just not a techie person. I'll never learn this. And I, like you were saying, like, what would you do if your kids held up the paper? What would you do if your kids were like, you know what? When am I ever going to use algebra? I'm not learning that right now, or when am I going to need this history or the historical fact? You would never allow that in the classroom, that defeatist, closed mindset attitude. And for it, I just find it interesting that like technology tends to be that one thing where people either embrace or shut down or come into it very fearful.
Yeah.
And then like scared deer in the headlights. It's very frustrating.
That kind of leads into my pet peeve if we want to go there, but mine is along those lines. So Gabe, where do we want to go?
I know AJ was going to bring something up a little earlier.
I actually was going to bring something up about the PD. Just the fact, since we're on it, if you don't mind, Chris, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Doing people who do PD introduce a tech tool and then don't really know the tech tool that they're introducing. I saw this somewhere really great. Tell us what it does. You should try it. I'm not really familiar with it, but it's a good tool. Only heard good things. Well, thanks for that.
You see that when people do those like 15 tools in 15 minutes, and I'm going to spend 60 seconds on a tool just to show you this tool. And it's like, well, no, a lot of these tools, you need to be able to take a deeper dive. Some of these tools warrant entire sessions about how to use them and how to use the interface and to talk about the pedagogy of how to actually use it. What's the value? We've talked about that on PodcastPD all the time with just professional development in general. People need to show up to something and they need to understand what the value proposition is of why they are there. So that would solve what Stacey just said. The person who comes in, they're like, I don't like to use technology, wah, wah. Or what AJ just said, it's the mindset. And as PD providers, which we all do to some degree, you got to provide that value. You got to let people know just the same way we do with students. We tell students, here's what we're going to learn. Here's why we're going to learn it. And now we're going to dive deep into the content and the activity. Got to do the same thing for adults, because I think we'll all agree adults are the worst students.
Sometimes, but I will say, leveraging a tool that, leveraging your tools so that your teachers are, like you said, Chris, seeing the value, but also finding a tool that isn't just the one thing. Or if you do have something that just does one thing, coming up with backup. So when I worked with Dan Gallagher in the past, when we were both middle school tech coaches, one of the things that we tried to do was come up with more of a themed thing, right? So giving feedback, right? And if giving feedback is the topic that you're interested in, here are the 5 different ways to do it, or 3 different ways to do it. And then here are the tools that go with each method, right? So if it's audio feedback, maybe we're going to use Moat or Kaizena, right? And if it's video feedback, something else. I'm making some of this up now, but just not making it one size fits all. So that also when you have that advanced tech person who's looking to grow as an educator and grow in her usage of technology, you're not giving her something she's already heard of, right? Like you're coming with that one extra thing that's new and exciting.
Yeah. Don't ever put the tool in the title of the session. Put the pedagogy, the why, what they're going to learn, and then maybe put a couple of examples of the tool in the description. Yeah, exactly. There was something else I was going to bring up along those lines, but I took a bite, and like you said, AJ,
the brain just goes. It's just like, oh,
my endorphins were lit up and took off. So,
all right, Chris, we've been holding you back. Let's go.
I'll throw mine out, and mine stems to why I do the podcast that I do, and that is it's the year 2021. Okay, and my pet peeve is there are people who are still closed-minded and unwilling to try new things, whether it's EdTech or even a teaching strategy, that we are still afraid. And we're afraid to fail or look stupid in front of our students when we try new things. And I'm sorry. I don't see any reason why that should still be a thing, and to still see that grinds my gears that people are still afraid and unwilling to try and close-minded to new ways of thinking and doing things as an educator. Because I'll stay on my box for just a few more seconds. And I've used this example. We would not tolerate going to a doctor who treated us with 18th century medical techniques. We would not do that. I would not have somebody take my blood with a leech in the year 2021. I would not want to go to a lawyer who was practicing law and was not up to date on current law, right? Or go have my taxes prepared by somebody who didn't know the current tax code. But yet as teachers, collectively we'll complain we're not treated fairly and we don't get paid enough, which is all true. But you've got a good percentage of this profession that is unwilling or afraid to grow and put in the time, effort, and energy to get better at this craft, at this profession. And I think that should not be a thing. And if you're that person listening to this, would you step up? Would you start being a teacher, start being an educator? Let's go.
Yeah. And I think of that and I think of my kids. Like if my kids were to come home and say, we did worksheets all day, we did this all day. As a teacher or as a parent, I'm going to be a little upset. As a teacher, I might want to, there's a part of me that's going to say, well, the teacher could be doing this, or, could be using Flipgrid or this other tool instead of this. And at the same time, I need to be turning around and saying, wait a minute, am I doing this in my own classroom? And I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, about practicing medicine, because that's an analogy I use all the time. I don't know. I don't remember how many years ago, but they were still drilling people's skulls when they had headaches because they were letting the demons out. Can you imagine if a brain surgeon used the same techniques as back then as they do now? And this is the only profession where we still have kids in rows, at least when we used to. Kids in rows. I speak, you listen. I speak, you listen. Got a lot going on back there, don't you, AJ?
Well, Gabe, my daughter is here because she smells the food.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's here and she likes it. She's like, what do you got there? Can I have a bite?
Oh,
I gave her a bite and now she won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
No, that's right.
Yellow ham, egg, and cheese to the fullest.
Was that even after what you did this morning?
Uh-huh.
Jeez, oh my goodness.
That just goes to show that food brings everybody together, right?
It is true. Everybody together, especially when you got part Italian in you. Come on, kiddo.
Yeah, so you brought up a very good point, Chris, that growth mindset, the power of yet, the power of, you know what, let's just learn this, or let's do something a little bit different. AJ just panned the camera over to his daughter. That's hilarious.
Like Baby Shark.
She looks like Boo from Monsters, Inc.
Oh, she looks like Jamie.
Thank God.
Hey, she looks like Jamie?
I think she does. She's like
Good.
Mini me.
I hope so. There's Jamie. There's the shadow. Made her
The
appearance.
shadow.
Oh, AJ, you had something you were going to bring up a little bit earlier before I said my don't show me your screen from 40 feet away.
Yeah, it turns out I had a lot that I didn't realize at first. I talked about the PD that we don't try. The one I was thinking about going with, having a PowerPoint with your entire presentation on it.
God.
So instead of just bullet points, like you're actually reading, like in this session, we are going to like creating a PowerPoint in a PD session. Like you're the leader. Just give me a blurb. Like you can do the rest. Fill me in. Make it interactive. By actually telling me what you want. Don't be robotic and read off the screen as you have the whole thing up there.
That could have been an email.
Or you could have sent that to me and I could read it on my own. Exactly.
Flip your PD.
Wrong, sir.
Put it all in the
Wrong.
Flip your PD. Oh, it turns out I really had a lot of pet peeves. I said to Chris, I was like, I think I might only have one, but I think as I go through a couple of things and you guys are talking, there's a lot of things in my mind that got a lot of anger.
Well, that's because typically you take the approach of, I don't want to be too negative. Let's always accentuate the positive. Sorry, there's two sides to everything. There's a positive side to education. There is the pet peeve, aggravate you side of education. So it's okay, AJ. Put your head on my shoulder. Let it out.
I just remembered what flew out of my head earlier. It's funny. It came back as I took my last bite. Ironic.
Power of pork roll.
Power of pork roll. That's right. I can't make a fist anymore, though. My fingers are swollen. Chris, you were talking about the tools in that earlier, and how a lot of them maybe do one thing. They don't check as many boxes as the others do. I have a great analogy to that. That's the reason we don't have a rice cooker in our house. The rice cooker does one thing and does it very well, but it takes up a lot of space. You have to know how to use it. Sometimes you put it away. It's not a countertop utensil or appliance. So you put it away for however many days, weeks, sometimes years, and you pull it out when needed. And sometimes you forget you have it. I like something that I could do a lot with. If I have a Dutch oven, I can make rice. I can shallow fry. I can braise. I can do a whole lot with it. So give me a tool that can check as many boxes as possible. And sometimes not just one, because I'm more than likely going to put it away, forget that I even bought it. It's going to get dusty, or I might forget how to use it because I don't use it as much because it only does one thing. That's pretty deep, wouldn't you say?
I like the
It depends
analogy.
on how deep your Dutch oven is.
Well, after what the puppy did this morning.
But that's a good point. I mean, but there is also a need for those specialty tools, right? So
Right.
There is a place. But again, as teachers, the more something can do, the better we're going to be. Otherwise, we app smash. But again, app smashing is certainly very powerful, and it can expose you to different things. So I can see it both ways. So I don't mind the one trick pony, but I'm more concerned with teach people how to use it, and again, enforce it with pedagogy. So if we're even talking about the rice cooker, there's a lot of things you could do with rice that maybe warrant the rice cooker being out and available, and it's used more than every so often. So I think it depends. There are a lot of variables to everything that we've talked about today.
Yeah. Send it in an email and put it in the subject line. Right.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
I think we covered some great topics today.
And some good food.
Yeah, and some good food. And I know there's people out there who are probably thinking, oh, you forgot this one, or you should have talked about this. So if you are listening or watching and there's a pet peeve that just boils your blood, tag us on social media. Speaking of social media, you guys want to share your handles and let the people know how they can connect with you?
Sure. You can reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at Stacey Lindes, STACEY LINDES.
All right, I'll take mine. So I got a couple of things. You can find me on all the socials, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. I don't even know. AJ Bianco. Find me there. Check me out. Obviously, PodcastPD with these two lovely people, Chris and Stacey, and my podcast, Reflect Ed. And if you like baseball, check me and Chris out on the Chase for 28 for the Yankees.
Yeah. I'm on social media on Twitter at Mr. Nesi, MRNESI. Proud to be also the host of the House of EdTech podcast, co-host of PodcastPD, co-host of the Chase for 28, founder of the Education Podcast Network. So this is like a triple crossover. Gabe is also a proud member, so it's nice to be here with Gabe doing the EdTech Bites thing. And yeah, I love to connect with people, and that's how you can connect with me.
And I know you guys are on Clubhouse too, right?
That's right.
Yeah, baby.
I have the app. I got the invite from Carl Hooker last week. I have the app. I have the account. I just haven't done anything with it yet, though.
Jump in.
Jump in.
This is where you
Swimmies or no swimmies, just get in.
Invite you.
Okay. All right. I'll do that. I wish I had my device. I would show an error message and then point it to the camera and say, what do I do? What do it says? What do I do?
Just press OK.
Just press OK.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you guys would like to bring up as far as pet peeves? I know this is a topic we can go for hours upon hours, but we all have families. It's Saturday morning. It's a beautiful 22 degrees outside here in San Antonio, Texas, something along those lines. Yeah. Oh yeah. We got a cold front. They're talking about possibly canceling school Monday and Tuesday because the high is like 21. And
You cancel school because of weather, like temperatures.
people don't know how to drive. Nevertheless, when there's black ice on the ground,
Okay.
because it's not common here. As a matter of fact, my heart goes out to everyone affected by I'm not sure if you guys saw the accident up in Fort Worth yesterday, if not the day before.
Yeah,
But
so that one.
100, I think it was on 111 car pileup.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't remember how many confirmed deaths, but yeah, it's
That's
not common in these parts. So people sometimes don't know how to drive or don't take the necessary precautions. So especially with school buses going up and down the road, they decided maybe we'll keep an eye on the weather and see how things go. So there's a possibility we might be asynchronous.
Ooh.
If you asked probably the three of us, Gabe, what we thought the temperature in San Antonio was right now, I don't think any of us would have said anything in the 20s or probably below 65.
Yeah.
Did you say it was 22?
I think it might be like 31. I might have
Okay, 'cause it's
stretched it a
28
little.
where I am right now.
It's 29 degrees outside my window.
Oh man. Yeah.
AJ, what's the weather by you in the frozen North Jersey area?
I got 24 degrees, feels like 15. It's chilly today.
What is the high?
The high is going to be
The high is going to be
27.
Oh,
to which we say, Gabe,
Well, we're expecting snow tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
definitely some kind of weather.
yeah, that's good.
Yes.
More snow. Here we go.
more snow.
4 days this week.
I don't say this much, but so are we. Monday we're expecting snow, so we'll see how that goes. Well, Stacey, AJ, Chris, thank you very much for joining me on my little show here, my little EdTech Bites. It was awesome breaking bread virtually with you guys. Thank you for suggesting the pork roll. Just expanded my mind, and rice cooker, pork roll. I'm all over the place now. So thank you very much for the conversation, for connecting, and I tip my hat to you guys and everything that you contribute to the education world, the EdTech world, the professional development world, and the podcast world, especially with what you got going on with the network, Chris. So thank you very much. Oh, I do have one last question.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Sorry, so we appreciate you and thank you for having us. This was a blast.
Oh, I'm excited, man. Thank you. I do have one last question for you. Flour tortillas or corn tortillas?
To me, any tortilla is a good tortilla, but my wife is gluten-free, so we have corn tortillas in the house.
All day, baby. All day.
I was going to ask if there was a difference. Sorry.
Between flour and corn? Come on, Stacey.
I don't.
Good gravy.
I don't like tortillas. I prefer.
Whoa. What did you say?
I don't like tortillas.
Uh-oh. See, there was a right answer to this, and Stacey, you just went. So I can't. I usually go flour just for the kids' sake, but Stacey went with the answer. Remember that she said, "I don't like tortillas."
What the hell did you just say? Oh
I've
my
never.
goodness!
I ask every guest that question, Stacey, and I've never heard that response.
Well, you also need to understand I don't really eat a lot of sandwiches, so that, and I
Makes
know
sense.
that a tortilla doesn't necessarily mean sandwich, but like,
What does a tortilla have to do with a sandwich?
I don't like lots of bread.
The tortilla is anti-bread. No matter how you make it. Sorry, Gabe.
It has the same type of properties. So, like, think about what you do with a tortilla. I don't eat burritos. I prefer hard shell tacos. Like, I like
You like hard
tortillas,
shell
so-
tacos?
What's that?
You prefer hard shell tacos?
Absolutely.
Then corn it is, because those are
Corn it
made
is.
out of corn.
Sorry,
Okay.
Did I win
Corn.
with my corn decision?
Yes, you
don't know.
did. Yes, you did.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, then corn.
That was a really cool way you redeemed yourself there, Stacey. I like
Okay,
it.
sorry.
All
I
right,
just
cool.
don't like doughy bread.
And AJ, you said flour.
I went flour just because I think that's what we have.
I respect the good flour tortilla.
I make some nice
To be
cake.
fair, the flour tortilla you can get much larger than a corn tortilla.
Yeah, that's
And
probably
they're more
why.
readily available in the supermarket because my boys all eat soft shell tacos with
Okay.
our flour.
All right. So a mixed bag, which is what the world is. So thank you very much, guys, for joining. Appreciate it. Thanks for the conversation. Have a great rest of the day and podcast on.